what you have achieved in the sport is absolutely phenomenal. And I suppose just bringing it on to competition days or making that step up into the elite level, how do you focus or how do you get into the mind frame of the event or leading into event?
You talk about visualization, you have to imagine that when you get to that event that you're going to be in the best shape possible, whether that be like through your diet, through your training. And I'm kind of a big believer in that if I can do everything 100% across the board, that I've left no stone unturned once I get there. So I go to a race quite confident, not cocky. I go there quite confident that I know what I've done this last sort of 6 weeks, 8 weeks leading into the event. And I love that. That's okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's when you sit back with the coaches and you trace it back to like, oh, okay, maybe this day wasn't right. You sort of should have done this, should have done that. And dealing with those highs and lows, as we sort of talked about, and sort of thriving off them lows to eventually get you back up to the highs.
Did you find that when in teams that you worked with in the past, that everyone was with you or supported you, or was there always that little bit of, begrudgery, the fact that, you were getting the limelight and they weren't?
There is a point in the team sport side of things where you all have a common goal and you kind of have to just leave it at the door and get on with it and get the job done. I think there's a lot of that because it is professional at the end of the day.
If someone does well, it's not too hard to wish them congrats or whatever, because that's lifting the spirit of the team, and lifting the spirit of the team can do everyone like the well of good. If one person can make a really good result, that everyone can start to believe that they can achieve that too. I'm the type of person to take good confidence of like people achieving good results in the team and to inspire everyone else type of thing. Who's that sort of?
I think it's really important to be able to celebrate other people's wins, because at the end of the day, whether they win or lose is actually nothing to do with you. It's more so how did you perform, and if you reached your PB, well then that's happy days. The mental game is the one that can really let you down. What advice would you give to someone besides having that preparation piece and going through the motions of that to mentally prepare for competitions?
It's just a bike race, the world's not ending, and like some days you finish and you've got so close and you're sitting there crying or you're sitting so disappointed about something, but it's like that's when you take it in the chin, and you sort of over time the people sort of start to make you realize why that sort of went wrong, and then that's where you can sort of start to adapt and move forward. Everybody wants to win every day, but it's part of sport to win and lose. As Martyn said, you have more down days than you do good days, but you learn a lot more on the bad days than you do in the good days.
I just always remember this overwhelming confidence when I knew I did everything right, and I was like, I've done this before. Like it's easy. It's only cycling, it's only pedaling. So that when you're really well prepared, there's this inner confidence that you can't beat.
It's so true. I feel like if you break down the barriers of it and you just really simplify it, hopefully it can get you over the mental hump that you can get yourselves into pre-competition. And then the other side of that is obviously the recent win with Sam Bennett. Whether or not you were into cycling or not, it didn't matter. All over the news over the last little while, and the impact you guys feel that will have on cycling.
Sean, even you just wrote up the edge and that buzz you got, and there's people sort of maybe never done a bit of cycling before. Maybe they're just out with their kids and sort of that sort of stuff, but maybe now they've sort of got the cycling bug, as they say, and maybe they want that more buzz of competing and stuff. So I definitely think it'll take maybe a year or two to really see the knock on, and then obviously really the cherry on top was Sam there last week and winning the green jersey in Paris. So that's inspired kids who maybe were into rugby or into soccer, and they've sort of seen him riding down the Champs-Elysees with the sun setting, and this looks absolutely amazing. How easy does that look, type of thing. So it's inspired me. I'm sure it's inspired everybody just watching it, type of thing. That everybody knows Sam. He knows where he came from growing up. It's a lot of hard work to get there, but it's when you see the likes of people from our world achieving something like that, it's kind of not impossible to do it yourself too.
Oh, definitely. It's like the 2020 campaign for women in sports, and it's like, can't see it, can't be it. It's like a version of that. If you see it, you feel like, actually, that could be me in the future. We have touched on this already, where you talked about you have to be a particular type of person to compete at the elite level in terms of cycling. So how much does it come down to hard work / hours in the saddle versus talent?
And you need a blend of everything. So there's definitely a bit of luck involved with the old genes. But for me, it's hard work trumps a lot of. You can definitely bypass someone that's got talent if you really commit and really work hard at it, 100%. Because I was, like I said, I don't think I was good at anything at cycling, but I just trained really, really hard and got really good level, and I kind of plastered over the talent crack that I was lacking.
Yeah, I'd agree with Martyn. It's kind of really 50-50. I think we sort of see these people, obviously the best talent, and that's coupled with hard work, whereas you can have sort of people who are sort of in and out sort of all the time, and they're just the people who are dedicated to doing the bread and butter stuff all the time with that wee bit of talent. But like I said, I've seen many people who've been so much more talented completely wasted because they know they're talented and they just end up don't have that in them to push it that wee bit further. So it's
how do you manage your nutrition through a training stage onto an event stage, and what role does it play in terms of performance?
Back when I was doing it, it was a recovery drink, an energy drink. That was kind of it. Gels might have just started back then. You know, it was recovery was the main kind of buzz thing because you could have like sugary water or whatever that end. So recovery drink was a big thing. And if you can get the recovery, the protein in quicker, you recover fast, you can do more training, and then it all adds up to better high performance.
And for yourself, Mark, then what would your typical diet be currently at the moment in terms of food, nutrition, and on the day of events?
Not in the current pandemic diet. Like pretend you're going into a race.
I suppose just when I'm away, obviously you cook all your stuff yourself, so it's quite simple. In the morning, I wake up, I have porridge and a bit of nuts and a bit of chia seeds and a bit of yogurt, and then that's me sort of on the road for 3 or 4 hours, and you have sort of a banana or a couple of gels in your pocket, and then you obviously have like hydro tabs or some carb mix in your bottle for training. And then each day it's about just obviously keeping the carbs topped up, and then at the end of the day it's just like as much protein as you can get in because you're just trying to recover as quick as you can. One of the hardest things is when you're training so hard is just managing that fatigue from getting illness. That can be the biggest hindrance in your performance. If you're not recovering or you're not eating the right stuff, you're not going to be able to do this sort of type of program.
The accumulation of good training days is the secret to the high performance in my end. When I look back at it, it was not getting sick. You just naturally achieve better high performance because you're a healthier person.
How do you manage the energy demands in terms of food and nutrition?
I think at the Irish level, we have the Sports Institute behind us that will give us all the knowledge we need. We know exactly what type of carbs to eat, when they're eating them. And that's really the sports nutritionists are gold. You know, you kind of just do the right advice and what not to do. When I was training on the road thing, I'm like 6,000, 7,000 calories for big days. The thing I think for athletes or cyclists anyways, if you don't have the stomach to handle that ability to process that amount of carbohydrates, you're in trouble, you know. So it's like you'll have to like your food to be a good bike rider at the world level, you know.
Like for us going to races, the big problem for us is not overeating. We have someone there who like monitors our weight every morning and our hydration scores. We race for 50 minutes. Some of our lead-in days can be like an hour and a half of training. So it's not massive amount of hours of training. You're just trying to keep the muscles open enough so that come race day, you're full firing all cylinders. Sort of the biggest thing for us is just maintaining the weight. Trying to eat the same stuff. It's quite boring when I go to a race as I would at home, because then, as you said, we know what it looks like. You know what it looks like on your plate, and yeah, maybe the odd night you try the cheesecake just to see, like, but
for morale.
Yeah.
Good
for morale, yeah. if you had a good day that day, so yeah, I think that's for us is the biggest thing. It's just maintaining the weight, really. I
think more so in the track side of things, it would be hydration would be the more scary part because it's 30-degree velodrome you're in, at least sometimes. There's a lot to be said for consistency in what you put into your body.
One of the things we try and do as a brand is we try and debunk the myths around sports nutrition. Has there been any product that has come into your nutrition plan you had a total, basically a misperception or misconception of what the product did for you?
Whenever I was a bit younger, growing out with a gel in your back pocket was seen as, when you were taking a gel on a ride, that's a guy under pressure. Now I would always nearly carry a gel just in case, like as Martyn said, you don't fall into that sort of dark hole. But if you rocked out, even with some of the older guys here and on a Saturday spin and you see the gel hanging out of their pocket, they see it as just a banana and a bottle of diluting juice or a bit of water is the way to go. A gel is sort of a thing of the new sort of generation type of thing. But
slightly more stupid and extreme was like reaching for the water bottle, just drinking on the bike. When I started was like a sign of weakness. Thankfully that's been kicked a touch.
For any young cyclist listening to this, what one piece of advice would you give to them?
If you don't give it a go, you'll never know type of thing. Throw yourself in the deep end. Who knows if they're like, you know, the next Sam Bennett, you know, and as we talked about him earlier, who knows, like, because we all come from that sort of pool at the start and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller as the years go on.
There's 1,000 things you could do. And if you're not enjoying it, you probably won't get a good result out of it. I think fun has to be a driver. It's a bit hypocritical me saying that, but you have to enjoy what you're doing, or, you know, because it's, at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's health too. So it has to be fun to make you want to do it. If you're hating it, you probably not do it that much.
Brilliant, guys. Well, I thought that was a fabulous chat. Really appreciate you guys giving up your time.
Appreciate you taking the time to jump on and give us some insights into both your careers, which has been absolutely fascinating. And we'll definitely keep a watchful eye. The Olympics, obviously, for next year. So thanks very much for your time.
Bye, guys. Thanks a million.
Thanks very much.